Hello my crafty friends, it's Beverly here over at Crafting Chaos, and I'm here with another video for you. The first day of Christmas 2019. So I'm doing it nice and early for you this year so that you can get on with your cards and whatnot if you wish. So we're going to make a start. I'm in Brother Canvas Workspace downloadable version, and we're going to start by bringing on a couple of simple shapes. I'm going to bring on a square, and then I'm going to and I'm also going to bring on a semicircle, and then we can get cracking. So the project that we're aiming for, you saw a picture of the finished cards that I've been making. I'll also be doing the second day of Christmas, which is how to make the matching tag. Alright, so next thing I'm going to do, all I'm going to do next is trace an image that I've found on the computer, and the snowflake, and I'm just going to open it, and I'm going to take off the pasty image, lower the number down to 2 and say OK. Now all I did was just look for an image for a snowflake, and I found one that I liked and downloaded it. Now just be careful about copyright, that you're not infringing on anybody's copyrighted images. However, if you do want to learn more about how to do that and tracing function, that's really not what this video is about. I have got a video on my channel that shows you how to find silhouettes and how to make them into cutting files. If you're interested, I will try to remember to include a link below in the description box below this video. So what I'm going to do now is resize our square to 5.5 inches. So it's going to make a 5-inch square card, and that's the size that I made mine at. I'm then going to position my semicircle, and I'm going to resize it a little. I'm going to squash it down so it's not going to be quite a circle, but it's that kind of a shape, till I've got where I think it looks okay. Then I'm going to select the square and the semicircle and center them on the center line, and then I'm going to make sure they're both selected, and in the edit function, which is the second icon down, go to process the overlap and subtract. That will give us that punched out image, and if I just fill in with some colour, you can see now that that is indeed punched out. So next comes our snowflake, and I'm going to shrink it down till it's about the right size. I'm going to zoom in a little on the screen so we can see what we're doing, and I'm going to position the snowflake. I need to bring it to the front, so I'm going to layer, arrange and bring to front, and I'm going to position it on my card where I think it looks nice, and I think I'm okay there, kind of like where that is now. So maybe I'm just going to rotate it so slightly, and we'll have a look at what that's looking like now. So I'm just going to move that there till I'm happy with the position, and you can play around with that as much as you want. And all I'm going to do next is I'm going to select both shapes, second icon down, edit and weld. Now you can see we've got that nice weld going on there, but what we've got is a jagged edge on that side, so we're going to deal with that now. I could have shrunk the snowflake down so it wasn't hanging over the edge, but I didn't want to do that because I felt if I'd have done that, it would have spoilt the size of the image that's poking through the... I'm just going to take a duplicate of that and align this one at the top, and I'm just going to use these squares now just to cut that straight again. So I'm going to line it up until it's on top exactly. Then I'm going to select that one and this one, and we're going to subtract. Now we've got our square back, and I'm just going to undo that because I just want to move it in just ever so slightly, because I just feel it's not quite as it should have been. I want to get it so that it's perfectly lined up. So I'm just going back to it a second time for a second look, and we'll do it once more, and that now feels a bit better and straighter. So that's the basics of the panel, if you will. What we're going to add to this panel now is, before we do that though, however, I am going to zoom in. I'm actually going to make the file bigger, And I think I'm still not happy with that edge. This one's fine, this one's not quite straight. So I'm going to just, it's not going to make that much difference to our overall card because we can resize it back to 5.5 later. So I'm just going to make it just to overlap ever so slightly, and it really won't make any difference, but I'll be happier if that line's straight. So I'm just going to select both and again subtract, so we've got a nice straight line. Now I'm going to just, oops, I didn't mean to do that. I'm going to click off so that we go back to where we were, and I'm going to enlarge the size of the card. This will be easier than just zooming in. Then I'm going to click again to expose the nodes, and these little tiny nodes here with little tiny holes, if you will, we don't want, because it is going to mess up the blade if it tries to turn round on that tiny little turning point. So I'm going to remove them. So just by selecting them, dragging round them, the ones that I want to, and then hitting the delete point here, minus. Now let's just click off and have a look. Now that looks like it's going to be just fine, so I'm going to leave it at that. And then I'm going to display, zoom all my objects to the mat, and then just to make sure that we're at that 5, I'm going to untick the maintain aspect ratio, make it 5.5, and again 5.5. So now we've gone back to that window that's 5.5 by 5.5. Next I'm going to go on to the text editing function, and I'm going to type the word piece, hit layers, and hit the top icon, which is properties, for the font, and the font I'm using is called Cairo. Now, I can't remember if it's one that was already on board, or I might well have downloaded it from thefont.com. And then I'm just making it so that it's going to fit our project. So I'm just downsizing it a little. I'm going to zoom in so I can see where I'm positioning it a bit easier. And then I'm just going to position so that it is just about clearing that side, overlapping at the bottom here, overlapping with that there. And I'm going to select everything. Now I'm just going to select the piece in case you wanted to do a matting layer for it, and then I'm just going to take a duplicate of that and leave it to the side. Select both of those now, and I'm going to weld, and that's welded the piece to the aperture. So if we fill that with colour, we've now got the piece. And then I'm going to add a second sentiment, which I'm going to use the font that I did download, which is called, hang on, let me just remind myself of writing it down, Always Forever. So I'm just going to put peace, and I'll put be with you this Christmas. Okay, so then I'm just going to drag off and bring it on so we can see, and we want the font to be Always Forever. There we are. Now I'm not going to fill it, because by the time it's drawn, because it's quite a fine line font, by the time it's actually drawn it will actually have filled it in. I'm going to space the characters out a little bit more because they seem a little bit cramped together to me, so I'm just going to character space in here, and I'm going to up it to about 2 so that they're a little bit more spread out. Then I'm going to position this underneath the piece, and so that it reads peace be with you this Christmas, and that is the file. So all that remains now is, if we just bring on another snowflake, a simple snowflake, and I'm going to remove that, lower the number of scans to the minimum 2, say OK, and bring it on. And then all you could do is just, if you wanted, I actually had an embellishment that was made of chipboard, but this is a very similar snowflake to that. And what you could do is just decide where you want it. I'll just make it a different colour to everything else, and we'll make it like this goldy colour for now. And it kind of went down here on mine. And what I would do, if you've not got the actual chipboard embellishments like I had, you could cut this one out several times, layer them up on top of each other to make a thick dimensional piece, and then add some glitter. So then all you need to do is, I used a punch to do some of mine, and I also cut some on the Scan and Cut to use this one, but smaller. And I'm just going to show you roughly how I did it using these. And I just arranged some of the snowflakes onto the card. You can either use all the same. I cut some in gold. I cut some in gold mirror card. I got one that was hanging off as well. And also so that they're slightly different sizes. And the beauty of the Scan and Cut is that you can, and you are able to do that, resize them to suit your needs and your project. So I'm just going to make that one a little bit bigger so it's more obviously, and I'll make this one a little bit smaller. And all I did then was stick those in situ with glue, added some gems to the centres, trim that off when I put this, and behind all I did was use some distress ink to make a background for my card, and added a few bits of bling. So that is the how to create the Peace Be With You at Christmas. Bear in mind you want that to be a drawing file, so make sure you've double checked that. So it's going to draw. I would suggest you do the cutting first, leave your mat in situ, and then draw before removing it. Now I say that because this afternoon when I was making the card, I've been on one today, and what I did do was actually cut the card, completely forgot to draw the sentiment, unloaded the mat. Luckily I loaded it back in and managed to get it exactly where it was. Never ever happens, so don't do that. Don't make my mistake. What you could also do, if you want the full letter, just move this one down so that you could actually do that, is if we just flood these with colour, we'll make them a darker colour so they stand out. You could, because they're the exact same size as the ones on the, we just arrange and bring them to the front, because they're exactly the same size, you could cut these out separately if you want them to stand out as more of a feature, and paper piece them on top like so. Right, so that's it for our first day of Christmas. Thanks for watching. As always, I'll try to include relevant links below. Remember, the file will be available over on my blog, free for download. I've already got some on my blog, very similar to this, but more of an everyday kind of style that you could download to make your own birthday cards, whatever. But I thought what I'd do is do a Christmas sort of version so you could see the process of making the card. Because once you've seen how to do this one, you'd be able to work out how to do the ones that I've got on my blog. Or you could download them. Alright, so thanks for watching. Remember to give me a thumbs up, tell your friends where to find me, and I'll see you all next time. Thanks, bye.